Hello and welcome back. So in the last video, we were talking about the Bonferroni correction, which just takes into account the fact that we are making a lot of comparisons by dividing our alpha, which is usually 0.05, by the number of comparisons we're making and then adjusting the p-value. Now, the computer does it for us, so we don't have to worry about doing this and thinking of a different alpha. We still always use the 0.05 as kind of that baseline. The last version we're going to talk about, the last test we're going to talk about is false discovery rate. And I put FDR, Franklin Delano, up there because of the name, but it was actually made by this guy. And to be totally honest, I've forgotten this guy's name because he was not the only person that figured it out. A bunch of other people kind of came to the same conclusion, all within the span of about 2 or 3 years, which is kind of wild. But I'll get back to you on this guy. I'm so sorry, this guy, if he's watching. Anyway, we have the assumptions here. They are the same as the ANOVA assumptions, as is the assumptions for Bonferroni and Tukey. So if you're able to do an ANOVA, the residuals look good, booyah, you're ready to go and do a post-hoc comparison test. This is the equation. Nope, not going to worry about it, okay? We are not going to worry about it. So no worries. I just put it there to fill in some space. So how do you code this? Well, if you come back here to R, let me go here. Go. Let me give myself some more room. Cool. Check it out. So we have all of these different options in here for the p-value adjustment that we want to do. And it turns out that FDR is in there as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy and paste. If you haven't already, you'll find that this class is a lot of copying and pasting, probably on your end. So if we just go ahead and put that on in there, but change Bonferroni to FDR and run that, we get a very similar output to the Bonferroni. Actually, structurally, it's the same. However, there are some differences in here. And let me kind of go back and blow this up, not that up, but this up. So what can we say right now? Well, we still use 0.05 to compare these p-values. Okay, so if anything is below 0.05, we say that there is a statistically significant difference, okay, between the two populations. And in this case, we get a similar conclusion. Beef with low protein is statistically different than beef with high protein because the p-value is less than 0.05. Okay. But what do we notice? Well, in the Bonferroni, these values here were all 1. Okay. And so already you can kind of tell how strict the Bonferroni correction is. Again, they are still insignificant, right? But with Bonferroni, we were like very certain, at least based on that test, that there is no difference here. These p-values still say there's no statistically significant difference, but they're not as far apart, or at least on a population kind of scale, they are not as far apart if we kind of analyze it in this way with this specific test. And we'll just kind of go back here just for a moment. So Bonferroni is being really strict. It's saying that no, there's no way that these two are any different, okay? Because the p-value is so big. But here, the p-value is about half. Again, the conclusion is still the same. But we're giving a little bit more credit, kind of, to the slight differences between these two groups. And then check this out. These p-values here are very close to 0.05. They're still not 0.05. And depending on who you talk to, you know, some people would say that this is fine, you know, that this is statistically significant. But for this class, we're going to be kind of black and white about it. If it's below 0.05, it is statistically significant. If it's over 0.05, then it's not statistically significant. But we can kind of see that false discovery rate here, this version of a pairwise comparison test is giving a little bit more credit to the fact that, well, actually these diets may be, you know, different. They like totally different, you know, statistically significantly different. Okay. Not as much credit as Bonferroni gave, right? Again, we're all still agreeing. Every single one of these tests agrees that these two groups are different, but then they kind of disagree on, you know, everything else. which is, I think, kind of crazy. So with that, again, the comparisons are still, the conclusions you make are still the same as a t-test as far as the language goes. And that's pretty much that. So you got 3 options here as to which ones you can use for this class or for any class or anything. However, I do want to talk about comparing these methods. I'm going to stop the video now just so we can have 1, a little break, and then 2, kind of partitioning these ideas. Okay, so with that, I'll see you in just a second.